Hey there, super friends. It's Joey with Last Point Gaming. Today is Thursday, February 28th, 2019. So, apparently I was wrong. The Versus series, they did not, in fact, test drive the new London Mulligan today. Let's all take a moment to collectively act shocked so that I can feel better about my rapidly diminishing mental faculties. I was wrong. But, oh well. We'll get to see it in London. There's some fenders that are bent. Maybe. Maybe it's a drug deal. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Doesn't involve me, so I don't care. So, today, Magic Twitter was just an absolute fucking dumpster fire. And don't get me wrong, most days it's kind of a dumpster smolder. Today was full on blaze. So it started with Ben Stark. Oh, I want to say it's Ben Stark. Maybe I'm wrong. Ben somebody. When I think of professional Magic player named Ben, I automatically go to Stark, but I could be wrong there. I definitely know Martin Yuzo was involved. There were many complaints about the insecurity of this top 8 arena players being invited to this invitational. Because you literally kind of had to grind right up until the final moments of capturing who the top 8 were at that time, right? Not to mention, to even get into the area where you're contesting for those spots, you've probably been grinding for like a couple days. And the top 8 arena players was presented as this, well, you know what? Ross Merriam, he really hit the nail on the head and made a connection that I didn't really see and really should have. Yeah, Ross Merriam and his curmudgeon-y tweets were like the highlight of my fucking Twitter feed today. Which, don't get me wrong, I like Ross and everything. And usually he tweets interesting things that make you go, and maybe depress you a little bit. But today, it was the happiest shit in my Twitter. And it was something along the lines of, you know, equating this grind for the top 8 arena Mythic slots for the chance at the $250,000 top prize at this invitational to American capitalism. Yep. Like, let's really look at this allegory. American capitalism tells you that if you just work hard enough and, you know, keep your nose to that grindstone and put straps on your boots and then pull yourself up by them, I guess, you too can be at the top. You can be president. You can build an empire. You can this, you can that, whatever. When really, we like to pretend that the United States is a class system, but it's actually a mixed system between class and caste. And we're not going to get into all my political musings, but let's look at this arena invitational thing. So it was presented as this opportunity for any player to make it. And I think most of us really didn't look at it too closely. And I don't know, maybe it would have been different if the qualification ended, say, on a weekend. Though, to be fair, then you're just screwing people who aren't fortunate enough to have a 9-to-5-er, you know, Monday through Friday, that have to work weekends. Or maybe they are fortunate enough to have a 9-to-5-er, but they live in the capitalist wonderland that is the United States, so they also have an evening and weekend job. What the shit? Alright, might be a long one today, folks. But, it was presented as this, oh yeah, anybody can do it. But I would be really surprised if this list of top 8 players is not 8 professional streamers. Because, yeah, again, you had to grind your way up to the point where you were, like, actually contesting for that. Man, Corey Baumeister, I'm not actually following his stream, and I really should because I like him. But, like, I think he was trying to do the grind yesterday and, like, couldn't even make it to the, to at any point having a top 8 slot. Jim Davis did a lot of grinding, and I know, you can say what you want about these players and, their skill level or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, the 8 players that were top 8 at the time when the season closed at 3 p.m. Eastern today, which would make it, noon California time? They're 3 hours behind us. I mean, that's just the United States. There are other countries, and they have even more time zones, and, I mean, there's got to be a time zone that's, like, the complete opposite of me, right? That's how that works, I think. Pretty sure. I think the exact opposite of my latitude is exact opposite time zone as me. But anyway, whatever time it ended for you, you had to be still grinding to make sure you kept that top 8 slot. Oh, and apparently your computer could have told you were, say number 8, and you might not actually be. You're not going to find out until Monday. Yeah, everything about this is, whew. Now, the point made by Martin Yuza and possibly Ben Stark, possibly Ben somebody else. It's been a long day, folks, and Girly McBabyface did not sleep very well last night, so neither did yours truly. Was, all you players whining about, how intense this grind is on Arena, to get to the Pro Tour before used to mean traveling and grinding PTQs and this and that. Okay, yes, this is a fair point, that previous qualification for the equivalent of the Mythic Championship, though, I guess Worlds would be the equivalent of this Invitational? Or as close as we've been in ages, because it is an insanely high prize purse. It's $1 million that they are giving out to these players at the different prize brackets, like all added together. Top player gets $250,000. I cannot remember the last Magic tournament that had a payout that high. So, where was it going with this? Okay, so Worlds. Okay, we kind of just accepted that you only saw professional players at Worlds. Like, they're the only ones getting there. Because, once they started on that track and doing well enough to look like they were qualifying for Worlds, I'm sure somebody snapped them up and was like, yo, make content for us. Professionally play Magic the Gathering. It's a great career move. But we'll go with a Pro Tour. Prior to the PPTQ, RPTQ system. Oh my god, why traffic? I don't even know where this lane goes, and I'm going to get stuck in it. You know what? It goes to progress. We'll just stay here. I'm done. Anyway, you had to keep going to PPTQs. Well, before that, you just went to PTQs. And, they were large tournaments, generally held in conjunction with another large tournament, like, a Grand Prix. And you would keep going until you qualified or had enough points, because there was, some weird point system. So it meant a lot of traveling and grinding. Or going to one PTQ and getting incredibly fortunate in, your matchups and whatnot, and just taking down one. So at least with Arena, you don't have to travel. So there is that. But you also knew at the end of the PTQ if you won or not. You played for a set time period. You went to a tournament and you played X rounds of Swiss. And at the end of X rounds of Swiss, if you had a good enough record, you played in the top 8. And if you won in the top 8, it might have been the entire top 8 that got invited. I don't remember. But when you hit the point where you qualified for an invitation to the Pro Tour, you were invited. You knew that. You didn't have to, say, play 48 straight hours of Magic and kind of hope for the best. So, from that perspective, I can get what they're saying is there was no travel involved, but there was also, no stability in the system. Now, I think we can all agree that it was a pipe dream, blowing smoke up your ass kind of thing to act as if, some random player on Arena that nobody's ever heard of is going to top 8 and get invited to this invitational. No. I think outside of the initial delusion of grandeur, when you buy a Powerball ticket and you're like, man, what I'm going to do when I win Powerball, and then you don't. Any of us who play the lottery, you have that moment. You buy the tickets and you think about how great it would be to win whatever the huge jackpot is, because you really only buy tickets when the jackpot is insanely huge. And man, if I would win $500 million fucking dollars, I'd pay off this house and I'd renovate it and make it really nice, and I'd rent it out, and I'd buy a new house, and I'd buy a new car, and I'd this and I would that, and I would buy a game store, because that's where most of us gamers go at some point in these delusions. But end of the day, you're probably not winning. So I think to a point we all can accept that we knew these 8 invitational slots were going to go to known professional players. I think Yuza specifically, commenting on it, because, I don't know, is Ben whoever in the MPL? I don't know. I think MPL players commenting on everybody essentially bitching about this system with, at least you don't have to travel, and, you don't know what the grind is. Y'all would have been better off just to stay out of this fray, and because, and I get it, they're being paid by WotC to represent WotC as players in the community. They have to kind of watch themselves. So even if they think this system is fucking stupid, they can't really come out and say that. Whether it's actually spelled out in their contract or not, I think Even if it's not, you know, biting the hand that feeds just gets you not fed anymore. I think outside of saying, you know, that the system was not a great way to go about things, no matter how nicely they tried to phrase the, look, we all knew these slots were going to top-end players, like, that professionally play the game. No matter how they say it, people are going to flip their shit, because, you know, they were guaranteed entry already. They didn't even have to play. So you really don't get to make statements on the effectiveness of the system or not, because you didn't participate in it. I remember Brad Nelson, when he started streaming on Arena, and somebody had asked as an MPL player if he got like a fully loaded account or anything, and he said no, and he said he was actually very glad for that, because he didn't want to get, you know, glass housed and sit there up on his hill and be like, I don't know why y'all are bitching about the economy, it seems fine, when he wasn't participating in the economy. So by not having a fully loaded account, yeah, okay, I'm sure he dumped some money into it. He gets to have that experience, and, you know, when people say about, oh man, the economy on Arena is kind of crap, and he decides to weigh in on whichever side, he actually has, oh, your license plate says Dreamweaver, that's cute. I will forever associate Dreamweaver with the stupid freaking HTML editor and pretty much nothing else. But anyway, he wanted to have that experience. So you could say, well, yeah, you know, this is how much money I pumped in to get all the resources I have, and not every player has access to that. So, yeah, there is still a pay-to-play aspect of it. Or, you know, hey, I really didn't dump much money into this because I didn't have to. And, like, he commented that BBD, Brian Brunduin, decided that he wasn't going to pump money into it. He wanted to grind it to see how effective that was. And, you know, I think this is a really level-headed take, you know, that him feeling appreciative that he has the same, essentially, user experience as any other player, that he can make intelligent, informed statements on, you know, how much money does it really take to, you know, effectively and successfully play on Arena. So, if you take that same logic and apply it to this situation, MPL players probably should have just kind of kept their mouths shut and their heads down. That's my opinion on it. I don't know Martin Yuza. I don't generally follow him or anything, so I don't know his general personality. But I don't believe he meant to be a condescending dick. I think people that were frustrated with the system and were pissed off about it may have mistaken his tone, or I don't know, maybe he is known for being a condescending dick, and therefore, yeah, okay, fair tone to apply to his statement. But I will say, as somebody who has, like, zero desire to ever stand on the champion stage, I, like, just don't care. Reading his words, I can definitely see it both ways. I can see how maybe he didn't mean it to come across harsh, but I can also see how it was easy to take it as a harsh rebuke for people complaining about this system. Now, in the future, this is not how one will score an invite to a Mythic Championship through Arena. That whole thing is still a little confusing to me, because the article written on it, like, I kind of feel like there were just too many words. Like, I'm not going to say that article was poorly written. I may have just not had the attention span for it. But there was an article concerning this. You know, at the end of the season, the top, 1,000 in the Mythic rating on Arena will get invited to take part in a Mythic qualifier on Arena. And again, though, you will be given a weekend saying, this is the Mythic qualifier weekend. Be ready to play, all weekend. And you're still going to have to, basically sit there and endure it if you want to go for that opportunity to play in the Mythic Championship. But you're going to have a very finite time. Whereas with this system, you had to be grinding really hard probably since the start of the season. Look at Alexander Hayne. He was number 1 or number 2 on Arena within, I would say 2 weeks ago he was. Today he was streaming, he was trying to get back up there, and he was in the 100s. So getting to that top 8, you don't get to just hit that bar and go, ding, okay, I got here. You got to keep it. And with hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of players also going for that line, not to mention, it's not even a thing popped up when you were playing, or, when you went to start a match, it said, okay, this match won't count, or will be your last match to attempt. Matches that were going on during the cutoff were not counted. And that's kind of how you could have come out the other side of that match and say, been, Mythic number 8. But come Monday, you're going to find out that, it didn't count because when you went into that match, you were Mythic number 17. So it's not like this was just a 2-day grind. You would have had to been grinding since the season started, get up there, keep your high rank, and just kind of continuously and be grinding leading up to the cutoff and hope your most important match is counted. So, yeah, this whole system was definitely wacky. Personally, I'm not terribly offended by it. I'm still back in Platinum. I didn't even make Diamond this season. So, but I can definitely understand the frustration of a lot of players that, they engaged in some, say, very unhealthy habits this past week trying to get there. But at the same time, that was still their choice. But, these games are also meant to exploit addictive properties. Game theorist, Matt Pat, he's adorable. I like him. He did a whole bit on, games like this, and Candy Crush and that kind of thing, and how they exploit the addiction center in the brain and basically function like an addiction. But is that on WotC? I don't know. I think this qualification avenue was ill-planned. I will definitely say that. But do I think it's their responsibility for players that, essentially have a gambling problem? Not really. But that's easy for me to say as somebody who, again, I just don't care about getting invited to a Mythic Championship. I've said before, if I had scored an invite to the Pro Tour and it required me to get on a plane to get there, I wouldn't go. Hell, if I had to drive more than 4 hours, I'd be like, actually, honestly, if I had to drive more than 2 hours, I'd be like, let me think about how worth it this is. But that's just me. I don't have that desire to be a professional Magic player. I don't have that desire to have the community be like, yeah, look at her, she's awesome. I just don't care. It is my It is a hobby to me that, yeah, I pump way more time and money into than I should, but, you know, hey, we all got our thing. But yeah, between the stupid argument over this Mythic Championship Invitational qualification and the creepy fucking chicken lady, yeah, that whole Momo urban legend thing, yeah, Ross was the only bright spot in my Twitter today, and usually Ross is like the spot in my Twitter that I'm like, is important for me to read this and have this thought, but this thought makes me sad. No, he was the happy place today. How fucked up is that? But, you know, Magic players like to wage war over arbitrary shit. So, there we are. There's my take on it. As always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening. I'm not sure if there will be an episode tomorrow or not, because I have a meeting over in our other office, and a lot depends on if I end up going back to my regular office before the end of the day, and what weather's like, because apparently we're supposed to get more goddamn snow tonight. God, stop it. Just stop it. But that all being said, there may or may not be an episode tomorrow, and if there is an episode, I'm not sure what I'm talking about. Apparently there's an announcement happening like right now that started at 5 about some modern product, so may talk about that if there is an episode. But anyway, as always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening, and hopefully I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.